This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Strap in, folks, because this will be a very unusual moveset prediction. Whis is already in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Not only is he a part of Beerus's intro, he's also a part of story mode. The character model is already in-game, which would save Arc System Works a lot of time if they do decide to make him into a DLC character. However, making Whis into a playable DLC character is far from easy, and he has never shown his true strength and has barely fought in the show. Most of his fights are against Goku and Vegeta while training them, and he mostly just dodges their attacks. If Whis made it into the game, I don't think we would see his full potential. Just like Beerus, it would feel like he would be holding back his true power, because if he wasn't, he would be, without a doubt, the strongest being in Universe 7. Let's hope all that holding back doesn't make him a low tier in game. That's no way to live. Don't be like Beerus, don't hold back in life, give yourself the best chance you can with today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that allows you to build a beautiful website or online store complete with marketing tools and analytics. It's the perfect place to launch your website or business. With their easy-to-use templates or layouts and drag-and-drop features, you can quickly create a professional-looking website and showcase your ideas on the internet. You can schedule posts, you can have a comment section complete with likes and dislikes. There really are no limits. Their help center and 24/7 customer support are always there in case you need assistance with anything related to the platform, and the list of features goes on and on. Without knowing a word of HTML or CSS, you can build a beautiful website, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Globku and enter code Globku for a 10% discount on your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Let's start with the cinematics. First up, his intro would be somewhat similar to Beerus. Whis fast travels, but this time, instead of taking a backseat, Beerus is the one who's gonna sit this one out. And for his victory pose, he's gonna have a feast. He's gonna bite into some food that he really likes and make those over-the-moon happy faces that he makes, that are such a big part of his character. Kinda like that movie Doesn't Kakarot, that is a very good example. His cinematics are simple enough. The toughest part of figuring out this character are his normals. How does he punch? How does he kick when he barely does it in the show? For the first time ever, I think we're gonna have to look at how some other games have done it. Whis has been a part of Kakarot, Xenoverse, and Battle of Z. Of these three, I think Xenoverse has the better idea of how his normals would behave. I know, I never thought I'd say that either. Whis fights using his staff, making his attacks look effortless, just like making a website with Squarespace. What? Oh, we did that already? Okay. So we're gonna see some minimal movement from Whis. The attacks don't move the character forward too much, but still it would have a decent range since the staff is doing most of the work. Now, despite his attacks being limited in the show, that doesn't mean I didn't find some cool stuff. For instance, this throat grab would be such a power move as his down heavy. I know it doesn't look like a great down heavy, and maybe it wouldn't be, but since it would have air invulnerability, seeing someone super dash straight into his hand would be such a badass move and very characteristic of Whis, because he would know exactly where you would be. This moment where he punctures Goku's ribs with his fingers would be a great standing heavy attack, and one of the few moves where Whis would actually move, instead of just letting the staff do the work for him. And I'm thinking the space bus where he took everyone to see the tournament against Universe 6 would be a great meme for his auto combo. Third hit, puts the opponent in the space bus and lets that thing carry you to the corner. Other than that, I guess Arc System Works is gonna have to make up all of his moves, just like Xenoverse did. Regarding Ki Blast, he does have this air pressure attack during Resurrection F, which I think could be his grounded special, similar to Adult Gohan. And in the air, I'm thinking something like Zamasu, angled Ki Blast that would have him hover in the air, but instead of shooting them from his hand, he shoots them from the staff. Kakarot did something similar, throwing a bunch of Ki Blasts in the air, though in a 3D space, it obviously looks very different from what he would do in 2D. Let's not forget that Whis is a master at dodging. He is the true user of Ultra Instinct, without all the flashiness that Goku brings with it. He just dodges stuff without thinking. His body automatically reacts in a way that's way more impressive than Goku, to me at least. During the Broly movie, you can't tell me that he didn't dodge the instant transmission on purpose. That was no coincidence. He dodged an instant transmission coming out of nowhere and made it look easy. So looking at fighters, how did they represent Ultra Instinct's flawless defense? They gave Goku the ability to phase through Ki Blasts, a command normal that would dodge any move coming his way, they gave him flips, and they gave him a parry super. So I think it would be appropriate to give one of these to Whis. He's not the type of character that would close in the distance with flips, but he will certainly be the type of character to counter and dodge all of your attacks. So we're gonna give him a super-powered dodge attack, which works kinda like Vidal's Reflect, but on steroids. This doesn't actually replace the normal Reflect. Whis still would have a normal Reflect. One of the reasons why Vidal is so weak in this game is because Spot Dodge is simply not a good replacement for Reflect. But keeping a regular Reflect and giving him a Spot Dodge as an option can be great, especially if that Spot Dodge persists for as long as he's getting hit. If Vidal dodges a beam into an assist, she will actually be blocking the assist attack, while a normal reflect will actually reject the beam and the assist if that is tight enough. So Whis Ultra Instinct Dodge would behave like the reflect in that way, just persisting for as long as the attack is hitting him. And on top of that, Whis would be able to dash forward or backwards while dodging. He wouldn't have a long time to do it, but that could be enough to swap sides with your opponent, for instance. Moving on to his special attacks, if you thought the character was already crazy, get ready, because you're about to see some moves that you're not used to. First up, we're gonna use his fast traveling abilities as a special move. Whis is gonna fly upwards, and then you're gonna choose where he falls. So you can use this to get out of the corner or even to close in the distance, because as you fall, the opponent has to block your approach. Because Whis is coming in hot, and don't you even think your down heavy is gonna do a thing. This is too much speed for you to handle. This attack would need to have a decent startup, you know, with Whis hitting the floor or something, because since it can't be anti-aired, it's basically a free ticket to win neutral with an assist. However, the travel distance and time would be limited depending on the button you press. With a light attack button, you wouldn't be able to go full screen. With a medium attack button, sure, full screen is a possibility, but the startup time would be a lot bigger. The heavy attack button would have more range than the light, but I don't think it should be full screen since this is really already a big F neutral button. Next up, we have his Telekinesis. Whis likes to put things in bubbles and control them with his energy. This would be a command grab. Whis summons the bubble with a staff and you're trapped in it. The effect and speed of the command grab depends once again on the button that was pressed, with a bigger payoff coming off of the slower command grabs, similar to many other characters currently in game who can command grab with quarter circle back into attack buttons. There's not much else to say about this one. Whis certainly has his unique moves and this command grab does look unique, but his effect is well known to everyone at this point. Next up, we have Divination. Whis often looks at his staff to spot what's happening in other places or even other times. He can also project the images he's seeing to everyone so they can see it as well. So with this divine ability, I wanted to mess a little bit with the game's fundamental systems. This ability would have Whis looking at his staff. He would be completely vulnerable while doing this, so it would be a good idea to only use it after a knockdown or during an assist. And at first it looks like he's doing nothing until you notice that his meter has increased and your opponent's has decreased. It's sort of a super analysis where he becomes more powerful and his opponent decreases in power. The animation would be about as long as base Goku gathering energy for a Spirit Bomb, and that's actually where I got the idea from. Base Goku's B assist has him gathering energy, which gives your active character more meter. This wouldn't be an assist, but it would actively steal meter from your opponent. How much meter it steals would probably need to be tested over and over, and even after the character came out, that amount would probably need some balancing, but anywhere between half a bar and a full bar of meter. And if you think this character is already crazy, hold on to your seats because it's about to get even crazier over here. One of his signature moves is the Temporal Do-Over. Whis is able to reverse time for about 3 minutes. Not a crazy amount of time, but enough to prevent some major disasters. At first I was convinced that this would be one of his supers, but given that this attack, however powerful it may be, doesn't really deal any damage, I thought it'd be an awesome gimmick to give this character and make it a special attack, something he can do for free. I bet a couple of fighting games have already attempted something like this in the past, but the one I remember most clearly is Mortal Kombat 11 with Garrus. Garrus is able to try to do something and then spend meter to rewind time back to safety. It would work similar here. Whis would rewind himself in time, so if he just tried to do a cross-up, he goes back to the same side, doing a sort of double cross-up, if you will. He wouldn't really rewind the opponent and force them to do the same actions, that would just be way too broken, but giving Whis the ability to rewind himself in time would make all of his block strings safe if he didn't want to commit to them. It would also give him crazy mix-up because you never know when he's going to rewind, and potentially he would also get some really cool looking combos. Alright, we went pretty nuts with special moves. We're gonna keep it pretty simple as far as supers go. First, I want to say that both Xenoverse and Kakarot have made up some moves that they actually used in both games, which makes me think that somehow, if Whis made it into fighters, those moves would end up being supers, and those are the Symphonic Destruction, which actually has a pretty cool visual effect in Xenoverse. Not as big of a fan of how they did it in Kakarot, it's just a bunch of key blasts, and Prelude to Destruction, which is this very fast, thin laser beam of energy. I personally think that taking made-up supers from other games is just a boring and lazy solution. Someone else made the work for us, so let's just take that and be done with it. I want to get creative, I want to take a risk, so we're gonna ignore that ever happened, but keep in mind that those would probably end up being supers if Whis ever made it into fighters. Alright, we're gonna keep it simple with just a level 1 and a level 3. The level 1 is gonna be this Karate Chop. I think this is the only time in the entirety of Dragon Ball that we see Whis going a little bit serious. Beerus just ate some wasabi and is flying like crazy, so Whis goes serious for a split second, flies behind the God of Destruction, and chops it him in the neck, putting him to sleep. This would be his level 1 super and would probably teleport Whis to the opponent's location, flying right behind them, so the super would actually side switch. I think because of the impact of the super, it would actually knock the opponent down into the ground and leave Whis pretty close to the target, allowing him to keep up the pressure, if he so desired. And then his level 3 is where I'm gonna get the most creative. With his staff, Whis is able to teleport his opponent into a different realm. He did this with Goku and Vegeta so they would learn to control their energy, sending them to a realm where they needed to master this. I'm thinking Whis teleports their opponents to this same place, or maybe someplace a bit more aggressive, like put them right in the middle of the sun. They're teleported, take a bunch of damage, and then when they come back, they see Whis just finishing a snack. He was eating while the other realm did the work for him. And there's nothing more Whis than that. And that's the moveset prediction for Whis, and believe it or not, there are still a couple of moves left over for him. For instance, Whis can manipulate matter. I had no idea how to implement this in the game. He can surround himself with his telekinetic bubble, which would probably repel some attacks, and he can even heal. I don't know if he can heal himself, but we can maybe make him heal his teammates on the bench, or maybe have that as his assists. Oh wait, Senzu Bean wasn't that good, was it? Never mind that. Don't forget to check out our sponsor Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com/Globku and enter code Globku for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And folks, who should I predict a moveset for next? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku and I'll see you next time. Bye!